My name is Reverend David Ugolor, the Executive Director of African Network for Environment and Economic Justice, ANEJ. ANEJ is an NGO based in Nigeria. We focus on promoting anti-corruption. We work on asset recovery. We also engage government on issues ranging from governance and also strengthening civil society capacity to engage government. We also focus on environmental issues. First, I want to thank the United Nations Human Rights Council for the invitation to participate in this important intersectional seminar on the negative impact of non-repatriation of funds of illicit origin to the country of origin on the enjoyment of human rights. It's a really huge opportunity to also share what we have been doing in ANEJ and at the same time provide some practical guidelines that can also strengthen this guideline for efficient asset recovery. My presentations focus on our own experience and also the work we have done in engaging government and countries where asset is also being returned. Some of the key issues that I will be focusing on today will be, first, is to look into the whole global framework of asset recovery. As we know, the UNCAC, which is the United Nations Convention Against Corruption, provides a framework for countries to adopt laws to facilitate tracing, freezing, forfeiture, and return of our funds and other property obtained through corrupt activities. The process of crime covered by the UNCAC, that is bribery, embezzlement of public funds, money laundering, and trading in influence, and other abuses of official function, must be returned to the requesting state in accordance with Article 57, subsection 3A and B, when the conditions therein are satisfied. However, in cases which involve overseas requests for return of such proceeds, where there has been no conviction of any person, Article 57, subsection 3C, makes asset return discretionary. Still on global framework for asset recovery, most countries that are signatory to the UNCAC, like the UK and others, are obligated to return funds where the conditions for mandatory returns are met. For emphasis, it is imperative to return stolen assets to their rightful owners and the victims of corruption as required by UNCAC to make a strong statement that corrupt leaders cannot act with impunity. Globally, there have some level of consensus among stakeholders in navigating the challenge in asset recovery architecture, which has reflected some practical guidelines for efficient asset recovery. Some of these issues are reflected in the Global Forum on Asset GFA principles, which came about when the UK and the US government organized the forum in 2017. And civil society principle for accountable asset return was also included as one of those principles. And we developed through these GFA principles were developed through extensive consultative process involving civil society organizations from across the world, leading up to UNGAS against corruption in June 2021. Now, they've been really discussions at both bilateral levels and multilateral level to discuss how asset return can be more effective and efficient. So that's why I think that this intersectional seminar is very important. It will provide opportunity for stakeholders to again provide their own feedback that will strengthen the final document that will emerge onto this process and which could help again the whole conversations around asset return. The principles of GFA acknowledges that the asset return process should be transparent, accountable, and in the best interest of both the requested and requesting state. Guidelines for efficient asset recovery. I think one of the things that we have also experienced in the process of engaging in asset recovery process as civil society is that it has to guarantee a transparency and more inclusive stakeholder consultation in how returns are negotiated. Civil society organizations should be part of the process of asset return in a way that is transparent, competitive, and fair. And to also monitor the utilization, civil society should be involved in the asset monitoring so that will ensure that the recovered asset is properly used for the purpose. And most cases, in the case of Nigeria, it was used for cash transfer program, which benefit the very poor as part of our sustainable development goal in Nigeria. Still on the guidelines for the efficient asset recovery, examples exist with the return of the $322.5 million of Abacha loan from Swiss to Nigeria. That provides a very special case and lessons on how efficient asset return can be carried out. And through the support of the UK government, we launched the monitoring of recovered assets through transparency and recovery process. And we launched the Mantra project, which is currently monitoring the use of the fund for cash transfer in Nigeria. Mantra was a project we developed with support from the UK government, and we were able to build a mass civil society, train them, and that has really helped to, again, strengthen the participation of civil society in that process. And the guidelines also help to strengthen it, and there has been successful collaboration between all the stakeholders, and the legal framework and clarity in terms of criteria for asset return is something that we also look in when we were designing the Mantra project. The process for CSO participation should also be formalized, which is very important. There should be public consultation on the use of the assets so that the public can contribute to how the asset will be used. And the guidelines should state clearly the condition for asset return, and all documents relating to the asset recovery process should be published for public access, as reflected in the recently released UK framework for asset recovery. And better integration of different anti-corruption and anti-money laundering strategies is needed, especially in terms of communication. And the return fund should be used for promotion of sustainable development. The use of return fund should comply with international human rights standards. Victims of crime should be given opportunity to participate in the use of the return fund. And all expenses for return should be used to disclose and published. And MIE framework should also be included so that to strengthen the capacity of civil society to track the results at the end of the project. Thank you.